What's going on, my babies? Welcome back to another episode of The Spiritual Word. As always, I apologize for any noises in the background in advance and anything of that nature. I always like to start these off with a disclaimer by stating that these are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research to come to your own conclusions, to have your own answers, to make your own decision. And I believe in your ability to do so and to be your own person. And before I start these, I have an audio version of the podcast anywhere you can find audio podcasts, and I have a video version of the podcast on YouTube. And they're both named The Spiritual Word. I'm your host, Jackie. I upload Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, except for the last week of every month. That's my mental health break. I don't know why I put air quotes in this video, but that's my mental health break week and my rejuvenation week where I just kind of like breathe for a second. Anyways. What else? If you're into spirituality, psychology, self-help, science, philosophy, those are my main 5 topics. And if those are things you're interested in, then I recommend subbing if you're on YouTube or following if you're on any of my podcast platforms. So, with that being said, I'm going to jump right into today's episode. I was going to talk about guides and how to get into touch with guides, but I think I wanted to go on a rant about why I don't like something else. So I'm going to just scratch that whole idea. And if you want to know about your guides, I will do another episode on that thing. But you just have to let me know if you want to see that. Because if you don't want to see that, then I might just end up talking about the things that Bashar is talking about. Because I really enjoy that. As of recently. So, anyways, we're going to get into today's episode because I'm already rambling. So, I'm going to go over some misconceptions that the spiritual community has with, twin flames, soul family, soulmates, all that jazz, that we were one soul split up and now we're made for each other. That whole thing. So, if you don't know the twin flame story, it's basically the story of how one soul was split up into 2 and then it was brought into Earth. And so you're here for each other when that's not necessarily the case. And a lot of people have this misconception that your twin flame is like this special, romantic, like nothing compares to this type of deal. When let me break that shit down for you. 1, I don't truly believe that you're one soul split into 2. I think that is soulmates. And it's not a soul, it's a over soul. So it's like a big cloud that is soul, because I can't describe to you what soul is, or, consciousness or mind. Is a big cloud, and it just kind of like spits out rain, and the rain is your soul family. Now the rain inevitably comes back up, right, through like when it's sunny outside and then it turns into mist, and then it comes back up into the clouds. I think that's what happens when you die, and that's continuously happening throughout the whole universe, throughout the whole planet. So to sit here and say that I am one oversoul that's split into 2, that'd be 2 gigantic parts. That would be like, I feel like that would be different in the sense that it would probably be Earth and the Sun. I think the Earth and the Sun would be a version of twin flames that would be accurate, but then it wouldn't even be twin flames at that point because there's more planets. And we have a moon. And there's like a bunch of different elements to this thing, so I think that twin flames already as an idea is not very solid. Like there's a lot of holes in it. And everything that you see outside of you is within you. And so I think that people who really dive into this twin flame idea are just really, I'm not even going to kizap right now. I'm not even going to cap. I'm not even about to lie. Cap means lie. No kizap. No bullshit. I'm just going to be straight up with you, and this might be a little bit hurtful, but I genuinely think that the twin flame story is meant to target people who are lonely and who have recently just separated from somebody they thought that they were going to marry, which happens a lot. And so, for that purpose, I think that spirituality, not as like I don't think it was like a purposeful thing. I don't think somebody was sitting in the back and like twiddling their fingers and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this story so that all these lonely people fall under my trap. I don't think that it's that. I think that that's what it's become due to the misconceptions of the general population or the general, audience. And so, take everything that you see and the things that you learn, you have to apply them in some sort of way. And every single time that I've looked down at my phone, it's had an angel number. So I trust that this is, vital information, and not necessarily vital as in like you need it or that it's necessary, but I think it's information that's very supportive of the, like, supportive of your spiritual traits or your spiritual health. Rejuvenative. Rejuvenative. Is that a word? It doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. So, the spiritual twin flame, I myself never really got deep into that because I don't think that there's solely one person out there for you. I don't think that that's true. I think that there's a pool of people who are genuinely right for you. I think that you have to choose out of all of those because the life loves you unconditionally. You could even pick somebody who's genuinely wrong for you, and life would still support you, right? And it's evident in everyday situations, like when you witness um, something external, like a relationship external. I'm gonna be quiet because I don't want to expose anybody, but it'd be like if I was watching, somebody get beat, boom, and they're like, "Oh no, it's fine because I love them." The world loves you unconditionally. It will say, "Oh, okay. Since you picked that, there's nothing I can do about it. It's your choice, and it's solely your choice." So that's why I don't believe in like the whole twin flame bullshit. Like, I'm not even going to sit here and call it, this idea that I really, enjoy, because I really don't. I really genuinely think it's bullshit. And not bullshit in the sense that like it's not real. I don't think that it's real relative to my reality, relative to my experience, because in my vision, in my viewpoints, there is a lot of people who are right for you. There's a lot of people who care about you. There's a lot of people who love you. There's a lot of people who will genuinely care about the things that you care about solely because you care about them. And I also think that there's a lot of people out there who don't care about you, who won't care about you. So for this idea to be one singular energy, one singular person, crap, bullshit, bullshit. And you can go into this idea of like everything is inception from my point of view. So we're in this big oversoul of humans, right? We're in this big category of the species we call humans. So within that category, we have races, and then it goes down, right? It goes down from being this big collective to this smaller collective. It's still a collective, it's just a smaller collective. And then we can go into a different collective because on top of the fact that we're a species, we have genders. And, those genders are conjunctions of this greater thing. And you could even, go deeper into those things by saying, okay, this is only, this is a group of people who have autism. That cluster of people is smaller than the greater collective, right? Because it's not the greater collective. And then you can go into a even more specific collective, and you could say, well, these are the collective of people with randomly they have 6 fingers on one hand because normally we have 5, and some people have 6 because things just happen, like possibilities and shit. And you get deeper into this grand scheme of things and this grand scheme of people. And so the deeper that you go into this thing, the more specific things you find. And to sit here and to say there is only solely one other person who is just like me, who is meant to be here to teach me these lessons, I think that people are continuously teaching you a lesson. Continuously. It's only that you pay attention to the ones that you want to pay attention to. And maybe for you, that is one person. Maybe for you, you only learn lessons if it's from a romantic partner. I know a lot of people who are like that. And, maybe for you it's different, and you say, well, family is the only people that can teach me. That's where your oversoul's family comes into play. You and your family are a karmic group of people who play different roles continuously, and you learn from your family. Or you could be one of those people who's like, I only solely learn from myself. And so it takes you fucking up, self-reflecting, to admit to yourself, oh, wow, you know what? I need to do better. I need to change. I need to do this. I need to do that. And, whatever the case is for you, it's coming from a bigger group. It's coming from a bigger collective. So that's why I say that twin flame. I had to make sure my mic was on. That's why I say that twin flame, that twin flame journey, bunch of BS. I think twin flame journeys is for when you're in relationships. Is this good for you? Are you learning? Are you growing with this person, or are you not? And sometimes that's yes, sometimes that's no. Sometimes you're both really content with the dynamic that's going on. Sometimes it's just enough. And not that it's just enough, but it's like it's comfortable. And not that it's comfortable in like a wrong way. I don't think that it's wrong to be comfortable. But I think that you get complacent. It's kind of like if I never, ever, ever had to worry about my health and I could just eat and eat crap and crap, then that's what I would do. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is that naturally, things over time don't work for you anymore. And it's not because they don't work, it's because it doesn't work for you. And so it's not that you're complacent in this, lazy way, because I hate people who are like, oh, people who are complacent are just lazy. It's not that they're lazy. It's that everybody's doing what's most efficient for them, regardless of whether they think it's efficient. You know what I mean? Like, I could go work out for hours and hours and hours and hours because that's what I love to do, versus being efficient and only doing the amount of time that's needed and that's necessary for me to, I don't know, lose weight or to gain muscle or to do whatever. Or I can eat and eat and eat because I love to eat and it's most efficient for me to do what I love. Or I can only eat the necessary, meals, the necessary vitamins that are for me. So recognize that it's not complacent out of like a bad thing. It's just that sometimes you get comfortable. And not that comfort is by any means a wrong thing. It's just that at some point that comfort becomes discomfort. And it's kind of like if I love to eat, and take this from me because I'm like a natural foodie, like I love food so much. It's one of my addictions. And I say one of them because the other one is video games, definitely. And, at some point, and I use that lightly because thinking about it, I can go a decent amount of time without playing video games. And I can, stop myself from overeating. It's just that the things that I eat, the things that I choose to eat, are not always the best things for me. And, for that reason, I have to slow down in those areas. Like, I love sugar. I have the biggest sweet tooth. And for that reason, I don't see any harm in eating sugar because I love to eat sugar. Until that comfort of mine becomes a discomfort. And I remember when my teeth started to hurt from how much sugar I was eating, the first time ever, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's no way that I eat that much sugar that I should have a cavity. And then I stopped eating sugar for like a week, And then I went right back to it. Because if, the discomfort's there, it's going to make you do something about that. And if it's not there, you're not going to do anything about that. And after that week, it didn't hurt. After a week of not having sugar, my teeth were not hurting anymore. And then it came back. And then I learned, okay, well, now I have to moderate or eat in, portions so that I know that my teeth are not going to hurt and that I'm not going to be damaging my body any more than I should. Because I am allowed to enjoy things, I'm just not allowed to overindulge. And I think that's where I lose a lot of people. Because you love love. You love the idea of love. And for some people, they overindulge in this idea that that one person is solely for me. They overindulge in this idea of romance. They overindulge in this idea of, it's not even necessarily romance, it's this idea of love. Because sometimes you can love somebody and they're not romantic at all. And I think that's my beef. That's my beef with the twin flame journey, because I don't think that's a healthy message to spread. And obviously there is people out here in this world who are meant and made for you if you really choose that to be true for you. You can choose anybody randomly and fully indulge in that thing and be like, yep, this person is my person. And people have done that all the time. I guarantee you listening or you watching, you've gotten your heart broken at least once in your life. And maybe that's by a parent, maybe that was by a pet, maybe that was by a person, but either way, you know what that feels like. And so being in that vulnerable place where you're like, oh my gosh, this wound of mine is fresh, and it's so fresh that I want it to be gone right now. That like moment where you just wish pain wasn't real. That's where they are. For most people who dive into this twin flame journey, they're in this moment in time where it's excruciating pain because getting your heart broken sucks. And it's a pain that you can't just, I don't want to say that you can't really just forget about. I think it's that people have a hard time with it because it's not something that you think will heal over time, but it does. Like anything, like if I cut my hand or I cut my arm, I'll watch that heal. And it's not something that's super duper, ever present to me because I don't use my arms to, I don't know, pick things up. I'm not using the outside of my elbow to pick things up. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that's going to be strained continuously. Versus if I had a huge, really deep cut in the palm of my hand, it would hurt every time I needed to use that. And so it would be more effective, like it would be a more effective pain. Like when people get, paralyzed, that's huge because it's life changing. And that's where they're sitting. They're sitting in this really uncomfortable, vulnerable spot where they thought their life was going to contain this person. And now all of a sudden, boom, it doesn't. And that's hard. And it's hard. It's so freaking hard. And there's no other word that I can describe other than how fucking hard it is. It hurts. It hurts a lot. And for that reason, you need to do everything in your power to self-soothe. And what helps you self-soothe? This idea that, no, they're going to come back to me. I know that they will. And I know that this person is meant for me, because why would I feel this strongly about it? It's because shit fucking happens and shit hurts, and it's hard to just sit down and be okay with those things. It's really, really fucking hard to be okay with those things because, one, why should I? Why should I be okay with, I saw this person in my life and now they're not? Why should I be okay with that? That's an uncomfortable thing. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. It's uncomfortable. And that uncomfortability makes you want to do something about being uncomfortable. And you're going to do whatever it takes to be comfortable again. And for some people, they never learn how to, do that. And I wouldn't say never, because eventually you do, but It takes a lot longer for people who are not really comfortable with the truth and really comfortable with shit happens, shit's gonna happen, and what can we do from here on out? Maybe today I just need to cry, you know? And shit is hard, but that's why I don't believe in the twin flame journey, just because nobody is technically wrong for you. And you have chosen the people who are wrong for you and then ended up breaking up with them because they were wrong for you. And so I don't think that there's this idea that one person is the end goal, because I think the whole adventure of life is the trials and the turbulence, the things that work for you, the things that don't work for you, and finding those things out for you is what's fun. Like, you go out with people because you're like, ooh, I want to know what that person would be like. I want to know what it would be like to be with this person. That's the whole idea. That's the whole point of you being intrigued. That's why you get crushes on people. You're like, ooh, that person, I want to know what it's like. And, sometimes you find out what it's like and you're like, eh, never mind, that was not it. So it's based off your own personal experience and based off what you learn. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the twin flame is completely false and out of the picture. I think that it'd have to be in a different realm, in a different dimension, because there's just so many humans. There's so many humans and there's so many subparts to us that it just doesn't make sense. And I don't think that that's completely true either. I think that maybe there is twin flames, but I think that they would have to be in a special ranking or like in a special place to know that about themselves already. Like, I think that life would conduct that to be the case. Like, if I grew up next to my best friend and we're 2 houses away, and it'd have to be like a really, really special story where it's like, I live a minute away from my best friend and we grew up together, and I've always loved this person, and then one day we just decided, hey, let's try to go out. We never admitted the feelings, but we had the feelings, and then we ended up getting married. And we decided we didn't want to have kids because we didn't want kids. And then, we basically got old together, and when this person died, oh my gosh, I was so demolished. I think those are real twin flame stories, but I think that those are so rare that it's unlikely that if you aren't in one of those situations where it's like a rare, extremely rare story, then it's just not it. I don't think that it's completely out of the picture. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it's complete bullshit. But I think for the most part, I live in a city. You know what I mean? Like, it's not common that you hear that. And, there's people who are like high school sweethearts until, they grow old together, and then boom, one of them dies, and then one of them's so sad. And I think that those are like soulmates. I think that there's branches to the depth that you go back with each other. And in the twin flame stories, I feel like this person has never hurt me, this person has never cheated on me, this person has, always had the best intentions for me, and we've always learned and grown together because we wanted to and because that's what happened. I don't think that there's, I don't necessarily believe that there's absolutely no pain within these connections, because that's just not true. And fundamentally, like, by numbers, logically, that's just not the case. But I think that it would have to be that, that, like, that rare of an occurrence. That me and this person grew up together, we never cheated on each other, married happily, we're happy all the way until we died. And we never grew apart, and we always grew together. We grew together. We're like the plants in the sun. We needed each other, but not needed each other in a toxic way. We needed each other in a really healthy, positive, I grow and you help me grow. And because I help you grow, I grow with you. that type of thing. And it's fairly uncommon nowadays. I'm not going to say that it's rare, like it doesn't exist, because I think it does exist. I think that it's just extremely rare. And so, with that being said, I'm going to end this here because I feel like I've said enough. Anyways, thanks for. I gotta make sure this is still on. Thanks for tuning in and tapping in. It's been the spiritual word, and let me know your opinion of the twin flame journey. And if you think that I'm absolutely wrong, let me know. But like, give me some depth to the comment. You know what I mean? Like, don't just be like, "Oh, you're wrong." Nah, give me some depth. Give me some logic. Give me some reasoning. Tell me what your side of the story is, and tell me what your experience is, if you've had any experience with that journey, or you've had that idea that maybe you are in a twin flame journey, because there is some people out there who are. And if you're one of those people, genuinely tell me your story, because that'd be really cool to see that. And I've never personally experienced somebody in the twin flame journey, so that would be really cool to experience and witness. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in and tapping in. And as always, thanks for listening. I love you, my babies, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.